BG Cooling System Sealer is the product that we use either as a preventive maintenance item or a particular fixer for problems that for vehicles that experience small coolant leaks. What we use that differentiates our product from most of the other products on the market, we have a natural organic filler. It's non-harmful to cooling system components, whether it's rubbers, steel, metals, components of any type, and very finite, tiny particles. If you look inside of a radiator and you see the cooling system fins, might be 1 to 2 millimeters in diameter. The beauty of our product is that our fibers are about 1/10 of that in length, our longest fibers, so that really you have no propensity for our product to cause plugging in a cooling system if it's used properly. Also, we have our product finely dispersed in the container so that if it's used properly and you agitate it prior to use, pour it in, start the car, get it to operating temperature, you've dispersed this material within a 2 or 3 gallon system. So there's no tendency for it to accumulate in any one place and cause plugging problems. A couple of things to be noted. When you're working with vehicles that have a pressurized overfill tube, either Oldsmobile or the Chevrolet Quad 4s have this, different other vehicles where actually the pressurized radiator cap is on the reservoir or the overflow. You can't introduce the product into that portion of the cooling system because essentially that fluid doesn't circulate within the car. So you pour it in there and you could plug something because really you're not introducing it into the main coolant body. What you'll need to do in those instances is to either take off the top radiator hose or find a way to introduce it into the radiator itself so that when you close the system up, you get it to operating temperature. Once the thermostat opens, you're able to disperse it throughout the system. That's very important. You have to think through this, keep in mind, okay? The product can't think, but it will do as well as it can depending on how you put it into the system. So follow our directions on that. It's a good long-term product. It has no tendency to cause any problems with any coolant type, with long life, with conventional coolants, with Japanese, with any other versions out there, heavy duty or light duty, diesel or gasoline. It doesn't matter. This product will work effectively in all systems. It does not combine with any of the coolant chemicals, so you don't get any fallout or dropping of the particles. It stays dispersed. They're not like magnets. They don't come in and accumulate in some place and cause a plug. So when you use it as directed, it's going to be probably the best product on the market for this kind of an application. A lot of the other delivery sealers on the market will be hard pellets, which tend to fall in one place, take a long time to dissolve, really not disperse very well. Or you have these syrups or thick liquids that, again, tend not to get moved into the system quickly. Or metallic particles. There are some products on the market that have kind of a metallic nature, and you have to wonder, are they attracting some of the coolant chemistry and maybe weakening the ability of the coolant to protect the car? So because this is all natural, all organic, very safe, and the particle size is very, very tiny, we see this as a very successful product in the field. We also use a combination of powdered fibers, some hard, some soft, so that there's a dual action, there's a synergy to how it plugs, seals in the car. The softer material will be fast-acting and expand relatively quickly, initially plug a potential seepage leak, and then the harder materials will come up behind there and form a more permanent patch. So it's a very standalone product and unmatched in the industry. There's not one like it in the field. Now, some of the questions I get are, Mike, you know, how much of this can I use? Well, it's very important to use the dose that's appropriate for your car. Like anything else, in some systems, if you have prior corrosion taking place because of cooling systems that have been neglected, okay, you have material in there. It's not stopping material, it's corrosion. And you might have leaks that aren't taking place yet, but you have restrictions in those tubes. And so you already have, like, blockage of the arteries. You've got some restrictions in there. Any material you put in now is going to further restrict. So gauging the quality of the vehicles that you bring in, if you have some that have been severely neglected, nothing really probably added to that system is going to be a benefit until you can clean some of that material out. So keep in mind that although a car looks like it's functioning well, if it has symptoms of overheating or poor cooling system efficiency, you might have a subliminal problem there that this won't help or no other product will help. So we judge those on a case-by-case basis. If you're working on vehicles that have seen a good service history, that come in regularly, the probability is very, very small that you'll ever have problems related to cooling system plugging. Those are the vehicles that, quite honestly, we would like to service because they fall right into maintenance. You're taking care of a car that's been well maintained. But in the cases where you have something that hasn't been well maintained, you know, keep in mind that you can cause problems. As I said, the dose is very important too. We have two sizes of this. We have the small import size, and then we have our regular 11-ounce size, 12-ounce size, excuse me. The 12-ounce size is for systems that habitually are going to be in the 3 to 4 gallon range. If you have imports or smaller vehicles with a 2-gallon or less capacity, you can either elect to use half of the contents of this bottle or the small import size. Do not put an excess of material in the system. You're just putting and loading a lot of particulate in there that eventually could create a problem where one didn't exist before. It couldn't be any clearer than that. More sealer in the system is not going to give you a better benefit or better sealing. Use it as we instruct with the dose appropriate size, and if it can be fixed, and this is a remedy. This isn't a repair where you're taking the engine apart. This is a short-term remedy for a small problem. If you use it appropriately, it could take care of a problem forever that's small enough. But in cases where you know that there's a service that needs to be performed, a maintenance or repair, and you just want to keep putting this in,